The Congress of Local and Regional Authorities is the pan-European political assembly representing local and regional authorities from the 47 member states of the Council of Europe. Its role is to promote local and regional democracy, improve local and regional governance and strengthen authorities' self-government, according to the principles laid down in the European Charter of Local Self-Government. It is made of two chambers, the Chamber of Local Authorities and the Chamber of Regions, and holds its plenary sessions twice a year at the Palais de l'Europe in Strasbourg, where its permanent secretariat is located. Summary. The Congress of Local and Regional Authorities Assembly is constituted by 648 members which hold elective office representing over 200,000 authorities in different states. It encourages the devolution and regionalization processes, as well as the trans-frontier cooperation between cities and regions. The Congress conducts regular monitoring visits to all member states to appraise their implementation of the European Charter of Local Self-Government, observes the functioning of local and regional elections in its member states, and creates international treaties that lay down common European standards to protect local authorities' rights. History. The present Congress of Local and Regional Authorities was established on 14 January 1994 with the Statutory Resolution 94 of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe. However, the history of the Congress reflects the already 50-year history of the development of local and regional democracy in Europe. The Congress, a predecessor, the Conference of Local Authorities of Europe, was first established at the Council of Europe in 1957. It held its first session on 12 January 1957 in Strasbourg, presided by the prominent French statesman Jacques Chaban-Delmas, who was president of the conference from January 1957 to January 1960. In 1975, the Committee of Ministers established the Conference of Local and Regional Authorities of Europe that brought together also representatives of European regions, not only local authorities, thus replacing and enhancing the Conference of Local Authorities. In 1979 it became the Standing Conference of Local and Regional Authorities of Europe. 6 years later, in 1985, the Standing Conference adopted the European Charter of Local Self-Government, recognizing the increasing role of the development of local democracy, which has become one of the most important achievements of the organization. The Charter was opened for signature in October 1985 and has since been signed by all Council of Europe member states. In 1994, the Standing Conference asked the Committee of Ministers to further enhance its statute, and the Standing Conference was transformed into the present Congress of Local and Regional Authorities. In 2005, during the Warsaw Summit, the heads of state and government of the member states of the Council of Europe reasserted the importance of local and regional democracy for Europe, and underlined the major role of the Congress in its mission, again supporting its mandate. In October 2010, the Congress adopted a comprehensive reform of its structures and activities meant to increase the impact of its action and make it more effective, and more relevant to European citizens and their elected representatives. In particular, the structural changes included the creation of 3 new committees, to replace the existing previous 4, a monitoring committee, a governance committee and a current affairs committee. Moreover, a statutory forum was set up, the mandate of Congress members extended from 2 to 4 years, and the 30% requirement for women's representation in national delegations applied also to substitute members. The role of the Bureau as the executive body of the Congress was strengthened, and the adopted text subject to a clearer and more concrete follow-up procedure. In the light of this reform, the Committee of Ministers adopted a revised version of the statutory resolution and the Charter of the Congress in January 2011. The Congress adopted its new rules of procedure in March 2012. In October 2012 it adopted its priorities 2013 to 2016. These priorities are focused on 5 areas: monitoring of local and regional democracy, observation of local and regional elections, targeted post-monitoring and post-observation assistance, the local and regional dimension of human rights and streamlined thematic activities. Role. As political assembly of local and regional elected representatives, the Congress is the voice of Europe's 200,000 regions and municipalities. It promotes the strengthening of local and regional democracy in all Council of Europe member states. The Congress carries out monitoring missions of the local and regional authorities in member states and prepares reports on the situation in the state concerned. These reports and the draft resolutions and recommendations they contain are submitted to the plenary sessions which debate them in the presence of high representatives of the governments before adopting them. The recommendations are then forwarded to the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe, which gives them the appropriate follow-up whenever needed. It also observes local and regional elections. After an observation mission, it drafts a report and a recommendation which are also submitted to the sessions for adoption. Furthermore, it prepares thematic reports which, together with a recommendation and/or a resolution, are debated during its sessions. To fulfill its objectives, the Congress cooperates with various partners, national associations, international associations, observers, civil society and other institutional partners such as the Committee of Regions of the European Union. Priorities of the Congress 2013 to 2016: improve the quality of local and regional democracy and human rights, help cities and regions fight the economic and financial crisis, as well as foster democracy, develop partnerships and cooperation. The priorities can be found here. Dialogue with governments as part of its monitoring of regional democracy in Europe. The Congress maintains a regular dialogue with member states of the Council of Europe. The Committee of Ministers, which includes the 47 foreign ministers of these states. Several times a year, the President and the Secretary General of the Congress provide the representatives of the member states in the Committee of Ministers with a record of its activities and hold an exchange of views. The Congress also has direct contacts and exchanges with national governments, in particular, on the occasion of official visits in the member states, during the plenary sessions, or during follow-up or post-monitoring visits in the country itself. More information on dialogue with governments can be found here. Structure. Bureau. The Bureau of the Congress, which consists of the members of the Chamber of Local Authorities and the Chamber of Regions under the leadership of the Congress President, is responsible for organizing the plenary sessions, the coordination of the work of the two chambers and the committees, as well as organizing the monitoring election observation missions, the budget and all questions that need to be treated in between two plenary sessions. Presidency. Jean-Claude Frechen, France, President of the Congress, SOC. Anders Nape, Sweden, President of the Local Chamber, EPP, CCE. Gudrun Mussler-Tornström, Austria, President of the Regional Chamber, SOC. Complete list of Congress Bureau members. Chambers. Chamber of Local Authorities. The main task of the Chamber of Local Authorities is to assess the situation of local democracy and observe local elections based on the European Charter of Local Self-Government. The Chamber also handles social issues and supports the cooperation of European cities, such as intercultural dialogues, e-democracy, or multiculturalism. It promotes the principles of local democracy outside Europe, inter alia through Euro-Arab dialogue between cities and Euro-Mediterranean cooperation. At its meetings, which take place twice a year during the plenary sessions, the Chamber of Local Authorities holds thematic debates on issues such as the fight against radicalization, cities against terrorism, migrations, the protection of cultural heritage, and adopts recommendations and resolutions. If necessary, the Chamber of Local Authorities can also require a member to write a report to a relevant question of his or her expertise. The Chamber of Local Authorities must examine issues that are relevant to its jurisdiction, namely substantive and current issues relating to the local dimension in Europe, and if necessary may raise a debate during a Congress session. A list of the members of this chamber can be found here. Chamber of Regions. The Chamber of Regions consists of representatives of authorities that act between the local and central levels of government. The authority must have either self-governing or state-like powers. It must effectively be able to take full responsibility for a substantial share of matters of public concern, in the interest of its community, and it has to take into account the principle of subsidiarity. The Chamber of Regions meets twice a year during the plenary sessions of the Congress, holds debates on issues such as the regionalization in Europe, and adopts resolutions and recommendations. It deals with the role of regions within the member states of the Congress, regional democracy, interregional cooperation and regional economy, among others. The members of this chamber can be found here. Statutory Forum. With the adoption of the revised Charter of the Congress on 19 January 2011, the former Standing Committee was replaced by the Statutory Forum. This forum is composed of heads of all national delegations together with the members of the Bureau of Congress. The forum acts on behalf of the Congress between sessions and may be convened at any time by the President of the Congress, as he deems necessary. Committees. In October 2010, the Congress set up 3 committees: the Monitoring Committee, the Governance Committee and the Current Affairs Committee. These committees prepare most of the reports which are submitted to the chambers or to the plenary sessions. Monitoring Committee. The Monitoring Committee, chaired by Philippe Receiver, was established to follow the implementation of the commitment and obligations of the member states to the European Charter of Local Self-Government. It organizes monitoring visits and drafts reports and recommendations on the situation of the local and regional democracy in the member states concerned. It encourages member states to evaluate the situation of local democracy in relation to the Charter, and identifies the obstacles that prevent them from implementing it fully. The members of this committee can be found here. Governance Committee. The Governance Committee, chaired by Tracy Simpson Lane, is responsible for affairs relating to the Congress's statutory mandate. These include public finance, cross-border and inter-regional cooperation and e-democracy, as well as cooperation with intergovernmental bodies. The site of the Congress contains a list with the members of this committee. Current Affairs Committee. The Current Affairs Committee, chaired by Ferad Makamashan, deals with the role of regional and local governments in light of the challenges of modern society. It works on thematic issues, such as inclusive societies and citizen participation, education, interreligious and intercultural dialogue, protection of children from sexual abuse, youth participation, integration of migrants. From the point of view of the core values of the Council of Europe, the members of this committee can be found on the site of the Congress. The group of independent experts on the European Charter of Local Self-Government. The group of independent experts helps the 3 statutory committees to carry out their responsibilities in local and regional democracy. In regards to the European Charter, the experts are recruited from universities and other research centers based on their expertise in law, economics, or political science and have a renewable term of 4 years. The group of independent experts is mandated to assist the Congress in 1. Preparing reports on the condition of local and regional democracy within the member states. 2. Preparing reports about specific aspects of the Charter within a member state, or a group of member states. 3. Preparing reports on a specific point in the Charter, which poses problems regarding compliance with the Charter. 4. Preparing reports on issues of concern for local and regional authorities. 5. Preparing reports on the promotion of local and regional democracy. Secretariat. The Congress Secretariat is headed by the Secretary General, who is elected for 5 years by the plenary meeting of Congress. Currently the Secretary-General is Andreas Kiefer and is supported by the Congress Director, Manuel Lezatua. The Secretariat of the two chambers of Congress will be occupied by two executive secretaries, who are appointed by the Secretary-General after consultation with the Congress. The Chamber of Local Authorities is currently led by Executive Secretary Jean-Philippe Bozols, and the Chamber of Regions is led by Executive Secretary Dennis Huber. National delegations. The Congress is formed of national delegations made up of representatives of local and regional authorities of the 47 member states of the Council of Europe, who are either directly elected or are politically accountable to a directly elected assembly. The membership of each member state's delegation ensures a balanced geographical distribution of territories, equitable representation of the various types of local and regional authorities and political forces, and equitable representation of women and men. Each member state has the right to the same number of seats in the Congress as in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. Apart from full members, the delegations are also made of substitutes. A list of the national delegations and their member can be found on the Congress site. Members of Congress. According to its statute, the Congress consists of 324 representatives from each member state, as follows. Political groups. The political groups within the Congress ensure an equitable representation, in terms of political, geographical and gender balance in each delegation. The Congress Charter sets a minimum of representation of 30% for the underrepresented sex for each delegation. There are 4 political groups within the Congress, as well as Congress members not affiliated with any political group. SOC, Socialist Party, EPP, CCE, European People's Party, Christian Democrats, ILDG, Independent and Liberal Democratic Group, PCR, European Conservatives and Reformists. The Congress meets twice a year for the plenary sessions, which are held in Strasbourg during May and October. The sessions for each chamber are held during the plenary sessions. Every 2 years, the Congress appoints a president from among the representatives, or full members. The current president of the Congress, since October 2014, is Jean-Claude Frechen, from France. See the Congress site for recent information on the political groups' activities. Monitoring of local and regional democracy. The core mission of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities is the effective monitoring of the situation of local and regional democracy in member states by assessing the application of the European Charter of Local Self-Government. Through this process of monitoring, the Congress contributes, at territorial level, to the main objectives of the Council of Europe, which are to advance democracy and human rights on the continent. Monitoring is also part of an ongoing political dialogue with the different levels of governance in the state concerned. The Congress undertakes regular general country-by-country monitoring missions, the examination of a particular aspect of the Charter, fact-finding missions to look into specific cases of concern. Following monitoring visits, the Monitoring Committee draws up reports and recommendations to member states on how to improve the management of municipalities and regions. These recommendations are debated and adopted during the sessions of the Congress. More information and examples of recently adopted texts in this area can be found here. Observation of elections. The observation of the local and regional elections is an important aspect of the tasks of the Congress, which complements the monitoring activities. The observation missions are conducted at the official request of the national authorities concerned. The Congress sets up a delegation made of Congress members and members of the Committee of the Regions. At the close of the observation mission, a preliminary statement by the Congress delegation is made. Then a report that includes an analysis of the election campaign, voting day, and recommendations, improvements to be made is prepared and submitted to the session of the Congress. The Congress collaborates with institutions of the Council of Europe such as the Parliamentary Assembly and the Venice Commission. The details of the procedure are set out in Congress resolution. More information on the observation of elections can be found on Congress site. Post-monitoring and post-observation dialogue. In March 2013, the Congress adopted Resolution 353 on post-monitoring and post-observation of elections. The aim is to develop the political dialogue with member states and relevant stakeholders after a monitoring or election observation visit, in order to ensure the effectiveness and impact of its monitoring election observation activities. As follow-up to its recommendations, the Congress discusses with the authorities of the member state a roadmap to improve local and regional democracy. In line with these recommendations,